The third film from the Oz Film Manufacturing Company, The Magic Cloak of Oz, was made in 1914 and is officially credited as a 1914 film on IMDb, but it wasn't released to the general public until 1917, after the Oz Film Manufacturing Company had shut down. Apparently this film wasn't very well received critically or commercially at the time, and it's mostly been forgotten about now, except for hardcore Oz enthusiasts. The Magic Cloak of Oz tells the most complete story out of the three Oz films from this era, as strange and meandering as it is. IMDb's synopsis of the story reads as follows: Fairies weave a magic cloak that grants one wish. They give it to an unhappy girl who has just lost her father and been forced to move into town with her brother, who becomes king, and her donkey, who becomes a hero. Yeah, because how many times have we heard that story? It does have some recycled footage from the last two films, including the single greatest character introduction in motion picture history, but it makes up for it by having the most furry action out of any of these silent Oz films. For those of you out there who are, shall we say, furry inclined, you'll definitely get your money's worth in this film. Your money's worth meaning $0 because this film is in the public domain, but shut up. Our favorite furry, Fred Woodward, particularly shines as the donkey Nicodemus, who is the real hero of the story and is by far the most entertaining part of the film. Interestingly enough, The Magic Cloak of Oz was actually not based on one of L. Frank Baum's Oz books, but actually another book set in the same universe, Queen Zixi of Ix. Oh yeah, there are numerous other lands outside of the Land of Oz. If you look at a map of the Land of Oz, you'll notice it's bordered by 4 deserts which protect Oz from neighboring kingdoms such as Ev, Ix, No Land, the underground domain of the Gnome King, etc. In fact, in terms of its geography, Oz has a lot in common with Australia and Japan, and trust me, we'll get to some of those countries' film versions of Oz a little later in Oztober. Sorry about that, got a little off track there. Anyway, I bring up the lands outside of Oz to indicate that even though Queen Zixi of Ix was technically part of the Oz shared literary universe, it wasn't strictly an Oz book. But L. Frank Baum put Oz in the title, I assume to tie it into the more well-known Oz name. That's what you have to do sometimes with your movie if you want people to see it. If you're going to check this film out, I'd highly recommend the restoration that the Oz Connection did on their channel. They worked hard to upscale the film into high definition, adding scenes that had been missing for so long, and even redoing the title cards to more closely match how they would have looked in the original release. It's amazing work, especially since silent films get tragically forgotten by most people these days. Kudos to them for keeping this particular silent film alive. Despite having put so much work into the Oz Film Manufacturing Company, the studio wasn't financially sustainable and had to shut down. L. Frank Baum himself died in 1919, making The Magic Cloak of Oz the last Oz film that he would ever see in his lifetime. That's right, the well-known MGM version from 1939 would go unseen by Oz's creator. That's a tragedy in and of itself, because he never saw the amazing heights to which his creations would soar. After Baum died, other authors would write Oz books that were considered canon, but none of them ever reached the beloved status of the original 14 books that Baum wrote. It would be decades later, when the 14 Baum books fell into public domain, that the Oz universe would be brilliantly reinvented in literature thanks to non-canon novels such as Gregory Maguire's The Wicked Years series. But what of the Land of Oz on film? How could Dorothy and her friends proceed into new adaptations without their original creator to guide them? The answer is not what you'd expect, or necessarily want. Random thought, have you ever noticed how many movies have pigs as the heroes? Apparently this is the hero pig genre. So do these 3 Oz films with Fred Woodward as the donkey and the Shrek movies count as the hero donkey genre?